Let me start recording this, so that way I don't miss anything.
You should have
But
already done that.
yeah, I should have done that already. You're 100% correct. But here we are. Oh well.
Here we go.
Oh well. But so Destiny Grimoire Volume 1, right? Um Page 125. Oryx defeated. Listen, death is the last part of living, and life is learning to die. The song is the same as the singing. The last truth commands me to eat all the light in the sky. I will go on forever. I will understand. Dwell a moment on the weight of what you've done. Contemplate the story you just ended. Will you ever do anything that screams down the millennia? Will you ever hammer your will on the universe until it rings and rings and rings? Oryx was an awesome power. Show reverence. Alright, enough. Enough. A vacancy has opened, hasn't it? How interesting. How very interesting. Do you ever pause, dear listener, to consider who benefits from all this heroism you commit? Do you ever look around you and feel the faintest chill, as if you are the tiny little ball bearing placed beneath a great mass, so that it might, if pushed, begin to roll? You're a god yourself now. You've consecrated yourself. Emulate me. Use your power to learn. There are worse things to practice being.
Okay, that goes hard actually.
That's crazy, right? It's one of my favorite entries about Oryx, and also one of the very few entries about Oryx in the anthology of Destiny 2.
Which to me doesn't make sense because he was literally a big part of Destiny 1.
Not really. No, not as much as you think he was. I mean, it was a
Well,
DLC for Destiny 1, but the biggest part of D1 was Crota,
which is
honestly.
still technically part of Oryx.
Yes,
Oryx's line.
Crota's the son of Oryx, the brood of Oryx and whatnot, but um the only reason why Oryx showed up was because we killed Crota. Now, in a sense, right, Oryx kind of defied his own logic in showing up. Like, what is he, sentimental? He's a god. He's the Taken
I
King.
gather.
What is the why would he show such emotion?
I personally, if you like, and bear with me here, I don't think he saw it as more sentimentality. I think he more saw it as like to kill Crota, which and basically is, as according to the raid, Crota's end raid, is a god knight, a demigod essentially for the Hive.
Fair enough.
To
Yeah.
kill a demigod is not only a blow to the Hive, but an affront to the Hive god they are the brood of.
Well,
Oryx probably saw us killing Crota as a challenge to his power,
mm,
a challenge to his logic.
actually, according to his logic, we're supposed to challenge him. Everything is supposed to challenge him,
Mm-hmm.
right? But according to his logic, death is a part of his logic. So therefore, he had no reason to avenge Crota.
True. Unless
The
Crota was meant
sword
to,
logic is crazy.
unless the sword logic depicted that Crota himself was originally supposed to challenge his own father.
So,
Maybe Crota came back because what the only other thing that could have taken out his biggest competition was one of his siblings.
yeah. Right, you ready for this?
Shoot, let's see what we get.
I was right at first. In the ever expanding blighted place, even light must obey the sword logic. Even you guardians, you best and brightest of the dying dawn, you drew blood in honor of the taken king. The warp priest did his duty and you did yours. Oryx was challenged, yes, but challenged in the way of the hive, which is to say that challenge is worship, is challenge is power. Sword logic. You played your part well.
which makes you think that was Oryx big braining us this entire time?
Yeah, wholeheartedly. Right.
What did
So Oryx was playing the
not to
long
say that
game. In my opinion, I think Oryx was playing the long game wholeheartedly. Right. Like, because the more we learn about Destiny as a whole, right, the more that we realize that Oryx, Ziva, Wrath, and Savathun were all played by the Witness, right? And then
and
they were used by the Witness to destroy the followers of the Traveler, the Gardener, right?
mhm.
Because the Hive have been following the Witness throughout the universe, right?
And then Savathun saw through all the bullshit.
Savathun saw through all the bullshit, but she was being cunning in the way that she was doing everything. Whereas Oryx was a little more underhanded with it, right? He
I
sent his son first. He wanted to test our mettle. Then, then we defeated him, right? We defeated
and
Crota, and we did it in such a way that Oryx was like, oh, I can do this within my own logic, and they can take my place.
I personally think out of all of them, out of the three siblings, Oryx was technically the most powerful.
Mm.
Yeah, Zivu was the strongest,
Oryx
and
is the
possibly
most powerful. Oryx is the most powerful. He's the one who killed the most and gave the most to his hive worm, to his hive god, right? To the worm god
has
itself.
and with the power of the Taken, he had more power than what the Worm God was giving him.
Yes, yes, but he still had to feed his worm god. Not as much, but he had to feed it more due to his own powers. Zivu Arath, yes, strong in her own sense and own will,
As a
right,
God of War is.
as a god of war is, was not as strong as Oryx.
That's probably why when we took out Oryx, despite what people want to realize, I think that's what caused Zivu and Savathun to start scrambling for new ways to figure out how to take us out.
No, Sabathun, cunning in her own way, right?
Yeah.
Always playing the long game, right? Always trying to find a new way to fuck us over to help or benefit herself, or trying to find a way to benefit everybody without her seeming like she's the good guy. Because she never wanted to be put into the light of, yeah, I'm helping the gardener while she was still serving the witness, right? And I get that, right? But at the same time, right, towards the end of the whole obviously you haven't been around for a little while, but they
Yeah.
brought the dreadnought back.
I knew that. I knew that was coming. I heard a lot of talk about that coming
Yeah,
back.
they brought the dreadnought back, which one of the echoes from the traveler at the end of the final shape landed on the dreadnought, right? And essentially the navigator, that's what it was. That's what it's called. It's called the navigator or whatever it is, and it's an echo of Oryx. And because we, as Eris Morn's knife, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, we did the bidding of Eris Morn, because I mean she's our hive god. That's who we follow, right?
And as of now, Eris is the most powerful hive god.
She is, because she contained Oryx in her own throne world.
And not even that, she stole the tides from Savathun and banished
And
Zivarath from her own throne world.
yeah, yeah. It's so great. I love that. Speaking of Erisborn, because she's part of this too, right?
Of course she is, as a hive now.
Well, not even as a hive. She's just part of the whole world of Oryx, the Taken King, Kuroda, Sibo, Wrath, Savathun. She's part of them, right? Due to the fact that her light was stolen from her on the Dreadnought. No, on the moon. Sorry, it was on the moon. It was in Crota's.
Hence the joke, Moon's haunted.
Moon's haunted, yeah. Which is where we get the gun Touch of Malice, by the way.
Which I've yet to get, but it looks like such a cool gun.
Oh, dude, it's such a nice gun. Right, Touch of Malice is Touch of Malice was created by Eris Morn. Right.
Right.
So, touch of malice. Let them feel every lash, every curse, every touch of malice that they first dealt to me. Eris Morn. So
Wow.
nice. So nice.
She literally weaponized her trauma.
She weaponized her trauma. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And like this is.
Yeah, I've seen it before. I've seen images of it. I'm like, that is such a cool gun.
It's such a cool gun, bro. It's such a cool gun. A weapon that draws upon the hive's ravenous darkness itself. A weapon that could turn back upon the hive all the suffering they have inflicted upon us. It is done. I name it Touch of Malice. For it is not but the hive's own doing. Take it, Guardian, and remember that they had a choice. And now so do we.
On the topic of hive, isn't
Oh yeah, Eris Morn.
isn't Thorn, the hand cannon, isn't it basically just hive magic?
Yeah, it's but there. It's a rose that was twisted and
And it was used
corrupted.
by
Dredge and Yor.
Dredge and Yor.
Correct. It was rose before it was, thorn. I also, I also read up on that yesterday too. By the way.
I'll talk about that in the next episode.
Yeah, because there's 3 weapons, right? That their stories are intertwined, right? And that's Last Word, Lumina, and 4. Rose, Last Word, Lumina, and Thorn. Those 4 guns are all intertwined with each other. By the way.
So where does Malfeasance fall into all that, though? Is it like just a wild card?
Malfeasance comes in at the end, right?
So yeah, it's the wild card.
Yeah, pretty much. It's the wild
considering
card.
Considering it was made by the Drifter, who he himself is a wild card.
He made it in order to fight against Dredge and Yor.
I thought it was Shin Malfur.
Or Shin Malfur, one of the two. I think he used it to fight against Shin Malfur.
Yeah, right. I think Shin Malfur was the one that he refers to as the man with the golden gun.
Maybe.
That's another thing that we gotta talk about is rogue light bearers. How dangerous they are.
Oh, dude, the rogue light bearers are honestly the best. The best. Did you know?
So Ghost
of the Deep. We're rambling here.
Yeah, it's a Ghost of the Deep is mostly Oryx, though, right?
Yes, it is about Oryx, and it's about a war priest. It's about a war priest.
Isn't that Oryx's corpse is?
Yeah. On Titan, yeah.
Man.
Yeah. It's location New Pacific Arcology Titan, right? He fell from the rings of Saturn and fell and plummeted to Titan. His body did.
And what's even interesting is that his body survived that. His physical form tanked it.
Well, yeah, and then you get to realize just how massive Oryx actually is.
See, I also had this theory with how the Taken worked.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's like the Taken, as we see, they're ghostly. They're phantoms of what they used to be.
Pretty much. So,
in the cutscene from Destiny 1, when he's taking the Cabal, their bodies are still left behind.
Yes. He's literally making a copy of that being, but tainting it to his own will. He's corrupting it to his own will.
Which leads me to believe maybe there's a corrupted version of Oryx somewhere within the Ascendant Plane we haven't found yet.
Oh yeah, it's within the Ascendant Plane, but he defied his own sword logic, so essentially he died. He killed himself.
Oh, that's right, because if you hive that go against the sword logic,
yeah,
it's pretty much a death sentence.
Pretty much.
A lot of people a lot of people ask, what about all the hive that we've seen help us? Like
They're not going against the
the
sword logic, though.
yeah, the wizard in Last Shape. Which
Yeah,
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 she's
yeah,
not going against the Last Shape, or she's not going against the sword logic. She's just interpreting it into a different path.
yeah. It's all about interpretation, right? The sword logic itself, right? Now, each hive has their own interpretation of the sword logic. Now, Oryx had his own interpretation, which he created himself, which created the sword logic to begin with, right? But it left
Which
open
therefore it is
multiple
the purest.
doors. Yeah, which left open multiple doors for multiple interpretations for the sword logic, right? So, Ghost of the Deep is a dungeon that was added to Destiny 2 in the Season of the Deep on May 26, 2023. Beneath the arcology in the oceans of Titan, Guardians must delve into the furthest depths to stop the Lucent Brood and their efforts to resurrect the fallen Taken King, whose corpse drifted from the rings of Saturn and lies at the bottom of the Methane Sea. Right?
Hell
So,
of a season that was.
hell of a season. I got to go fishing that season. That shit was dope.
I wish they kept that, dude. They should have
I
kept the fishing.
They should have kept the fishing. Honestly, I had fun. But
That's how I got the one-eyed mask for Titan.
yeah, yeah. I guess we could also talk about the one-eyed mask too, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
So obviously you got your objectives: locate the ritual site, break the ritual, explore the arcology, dive, reach the wreckage, explore the wreckage, defeat the shield of
All that.
Savathun, because obviously the Lucent Hive are the brood of Savathun,
Mm-hmm.
right?
The
Go
light bearing hive.
Yeah, yeah. Go deeper and then defeat um Simama U Nakru, right? Defeat the Light Forge Necromancer. That shit's crazy. Oh, there's so much to this.
I think, like, for just regular hive soldiers and all that,
Hmm.
Savathun's brood unequivocally created the most powerful hive soldiers with the
Honestly,
light bearing acolytes, wizards, and knights.
yes, I agree. They most definitely did bring create the most powerful hive soldiers and warriors. Um, which is absolutely insane to me. But I mean, shit. I mean, I guess. I guess. I don't know about you, but when Zeno and I were running Ghost of the Deep, and we were fighting against the Shield of Savathun, right? That Titan
Mm-hmm.
Knight, right? I wasn't using any of my guns when we were doing damage phase, right? I was just punching this fucker the entire time, right? And it was so
You're on
funny.
Titan, were you?
No, I was on my hunter.
You
Yeah.
stop stealing our things, Hunter Mains.
Hey, I'm sorry. I can't help it. I punch harder than Titan. That's just the way it is. Okay?
You have a counter punch. That's not the same.
No, I wasn't getting a melee hit. I was doing um I was doing I forget what the fuck it's called, but I can stack it 3 times. All right, I can have a stack of
Oh, the
three.
chain punch.
Yeah,
The
some shit
chain punch.
like
I know
yeah,
that's the one I use on my hunter whenever I play.
right. Yeah. Combination blow. That's what it is. That's what it is. Combination blow times 3, right? And Zeno was using stasis, right? So every time that it was frozen, I would punch it. I was doing anywhere between 19,000 points of damage up to 26,000 points of damage per melee,
Which is insane.
which is more than my heavy does, by the way. Yeah.
Which is absolutely insane.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It was sick as fuck though. So,
But
you
yeah,
know.
the introduction of Hive Guardians opens so many doors. What if there were Elixir Guardians that we never got to see?
but there wasn't, right? Because the Traveler didn't give them those abilities, right?
Yeah,
What the Traveler did was essentially usher the Elixni into a golden age. But the
like it did with
Elixni,
humanity.
like what it did with humanity, but the Elixni wasn't what the Traveler was looking for, because the Elixni started treating and worshipping the Traveler as a god, right? The machine god, the great machine god. The great machine, that's what
Mhm.
they called it, right? And so the Traveler was like, essentially, from what we understand of what happened during the collapse of Reese, right? The Traveler actually left Reese because the witness found it, right? And just like what the witness did to the homeworld of the Cabal, destroyed it, right? Essentially. But
I thought Zivu destroyed Torbottle.
oh yeah, sorry, the Hive. This, well,
Technically, it
same
would still count
difference.
as a witness. Yeah, it
Same
would still count as a
difference.
witness because the witness opened the door and Zivu was like, "Yeah,
I got
free
this.
food,"
Yeah, pretty much. Free food for my worm god. Let's do it.
which is still insane. An insane thing to think about.
Yeah, because the Cabal are a ridiculous warrior race, right?
Everything revolves around conflict for them.
Exactly. Like their legends are so like to the point and on the nose. Their myths and whatnot. It's so funny to me.
Like the Tale of Icarus shotgun.
Yes, yes. Oh my god, yes. And
The item, the short description for it. The Cabal are not a subtle people,
no, they are not. They are not a subtle people.
and I
Like
think that adds to their charm.
it does. It does. Like for Skyburner's Oath, right? That shit's so funny.
Which I got the masterwork for that one done last night before I hopped off.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. I finished the masterwork for it not too long after I started using it when we made our Space Marine builds on our Titans. By the way,
Which I still rock mine because it's funny.
I rock mine every now and then, but with this season's artifact, I'm rocking Arc because Arc is
Yeah,
amazing.
Arc has been cooking it up.
Arc is in, Strand is in, and so is Void. Excuse me. I remember when the artifact was centered around solar and radiance, right? I made a
Oh, that was ridiculous.
what a wonderful season that was, bro. I made a
I
a solar build in
think
my
that was
hunter.
I think that was the season Pyro Gales came out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Season of the Wish.
Yes, Season of the Wish. Yeah. We were
And
running
those still
through.
slap. I don't care what anyone says, those still slap.
Yeah, yeah, they still slap. I still use them. Um so anyways, um during Season of the Wish, right, that's when we're doing recovering what is her fucking name? Riven's eggs, right? And I made a solar build on my hunter with Ophidia's Faith using Blade Barrage. And let me tell you, that shit slapped. Okay? It's similar to my one punch build, right? I
Mhm.
was so you have the two knife charges, right? But you use knife trick instead of a normal throwing knife, right? So you throw out a fan of three blades, right? And so when you get a kill with the knife trick, you get your dodge back, right? But you got two knife tricks, right? So you throw one out, you dodge, you have both knife tricks back, right? Shit's dope as fuck, right? Right?
Oh yeah.
And the the radiance and the sunspots and the sun sprites, the fire sprites and all that went hard as fuck that season. And I was an unstoppable force. And then I started looking into Liar's Handshake towards the end of that season because I was like, look, I like this build, but I need to start making other builds. I can't just stick with one build. I have to be, well rounded. So I started
Yeah,
looking into Liar's Handshake, And that's when I discovered cross counter, right? And how powerful cross counter actually was.
Cross counter is ridiculous.
Right? Cross counter and liar's handshake is honestly the coolest fucking thing ever. Which is the reason why my favorite exotic class exotic is relativism, right? Real word, by the way.
Yeah.
Real word, right? With
Relevantism.
yeah, with spirit of the liar and spirit of the assassin, right? Love that cloak. That shit is amazing. Every time that I punch something, right, I turn invisible.
We need to ban that. We need to ban that specific role from clan PvP.
Oh, class exotic items are banned in in clan PvPs anyways.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's just the rule in general, right? Because Zeno and I came up with the idea of if you have to have two intrinsic traits for an exotic item in order to run your build, you need to do a little more build crafting.
That's
Honestly.
why for my Titan, it's mostly just line rampant,
Mm-hmm.
cash money. That
Cash
extra
money.
maneuverability, strafing just helps so much.
It does. It really does. Honestly. Um, Speaking of the clan tournament, by the way, we have one more match to go before we do semifinals.
Which is going to be interesting to see.
It's between JD and Bard, Darth Jar Jar, but we call him Bard. Zeno calls him Bard, so I call him Bard.
Darth Binks.
Yeah, yeah, Darth Jar Jar Binks. Yeah, yeah. Which I have a feeling that JD is gonna come out on top, and if he does, it's gonna be me versus JD.
I'll be the odd one out here. I'll say maybe Bard's got it.
Nope. Nope.
Oh, I'm not putting money on it then, ain't it?
Bard doesn't do PvP.
That makes more sense. That's probably definitely going to be JD then. Good call.
You'll
That's why y'all kept mentioning it in the chat. Like it's probably just going to be between us
probably, yeah. Yeah.
because
It's
Dust couldn't pick up the match against me, so
mhm.
you had to. And I'll go ahead and say on record, we have it on recording. I got my ass kicked.
Hey, that's okay. Alright? I wasn't trying to like, be like
You weren't trying to deep fry me.
I wasn't trying to deep fry you, but I kinda did on accident.
Well, I think once you start eating, you just kind of lock in unintentionally,
Yeah.
which is fair, completely fair. Me too.
Yeah. It's always when I start eating. Right. Every time that I start eating, it's like, fuck, I gotta be able to pay attention. Right. But this food is so fucking good. But fuck, I want to get this over with so I can fucking eat. And
I
so,
love how I also noticed that a lot of people talk about when it comes to the hive, because back onto our original point,
yeah.
humanity is the perfect counter to the hive in general.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because the sword logic of the strong, which is basically just the survival of the fittest, which is pretty much what it boils down to,
Which is,
versus
yeah,
humanity's pack hunting mentality.
all
We
the time.
pack bond with each other.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And what makes this so funny is the fact that, the whole thing of survival of the fittest, which is what the sword logic boils down to, like you were saying, um, what's a better race to do it than humanity?
Exactly. We hit the top of the food chain not through pure strength or anything, but through intelligence and just we are quite literally built different.
Quite literally built different. We are him. We are him. Yeah.
Like no humanity first glazing here, but our evolution alone states it.
Yes. Our evolution
We have
alone. I mean,
better endurance.
like if you look at what during like if you look at the history of the human race in Destiny 2 prior to the Golden Age, during the Golden Age, and then the collapse, and then after the collapse, right? So prior to the Golden Age, we were struggling. The Traveler shows up, right? Life starts booming, life expectancy goes up.
We hit the golden age.
We hit the golden age, right? It was glorious, and then we stopped moving forward. We grew stagnant. We grew fat in our own hubris, and then the hive showed up, and technically the
Thus,
witness showed up too,
and thus it triggered the collapse.
and thus it triggered the collapse, right? And then the traveler sent out the ghosts. And this will stick with me forever, right? First time I ever loaded up Destiny 2, not Destiny 2, first time I ever loaded up D1, right? And that little, that little floating ball with a little light in the center of it for an eye goes, "Oh good, you're awake. I've been looking for you for a long time," right?
It's a surreal moment, especially after playing D2 a lot. You go back to D1, it's like mind blown.
That will stick with me forever, right?
Although
Forever.
they did, and a lot of us in the clan will agree, they missed out on the opportunity to give us different voice options for the ghost.
They most definitely did, because it would just make it that much more, personal to each player,
Yes, like
right?
maybe I want my ghost to be some sarcastic wine mom.
Right? Right? Oh,
But another thing, I keep coming back to this because the Hive versus humanity, yes, they're perfect counters. And after all, who did the Hive look the most like in terms of physiology?
mm-hmm.
They're mostly the acolytes, thralls, and knights. Who do they look like the most? Humanity, either they resemble humanity or humanity resembles them, because we do know that the Hive were humanoid for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Even before the witness.
Yes.
Which leads you to believe that is the only that there was a long game between the gardener and the witness, or whoever the witness is serving. Maybe they knew that humanity was the next stop. They didn't know where humanity was, so they just started popping around trying to find them. So the witness is like, what if I found something or made something equally as enduring?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Play the Hive.
Yeah. Wholeheartedly.
And what's even worse is it's been proven in some of the grimoires that different timelines exist.
Yes. Different timelines do exist.
Like a timeline where the guardian, us, joins Callus and the witness.
Yep.
And throws hands with Ikora and glasses the surface of Mars.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, shit's crazy, right?
Which also leads to believe there's a timeline where the Hive won during the collapse.
Well, technically speaking, the Hive did win during the collapse. I mean, they kind of did defeat us.
Yeah, I mean like a total victory. Like we got wiped out.
Yeah.
There's nothing of us left.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which also raises the question: which Hive god would have claimed Earth?
Mm.
We all know who would have been based on the first Hive that we interact with, like all the way back in D1.
Yeah, it would have been Oryx. Yeah, the Brood of Oryx. Yeah, wholeheartedly would have been the Brood of Oryx all the way through.
I still find it funny how one of the strikes in D2 we literally pack up and send off Crota's granddaughter in a box.
Yeah, dude.
Or not Crota's granddaughter, Oryx's granddaughter.
Yeah, Crota's daughter, the granddaughter of Oryx. Yeah. Yeah.
Which, imagine being the grandkid of the most powerful Hive god to exist at the time, and then the same people who put your dad and your granddad on a T-shirt pull up to collect rent.
To collect rent. Yes.
That's what it was.
Yes. Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
Show up like, hey, yeah, your lease is up.
Yeah. It's time for you to go. You know. Yeah. That shit's so funny, bro.
That also leads to believe How long were the Hive just chilling on the moon before they sent Eris Morn there, and then thus sent us there after her?
So actually, we weren't sent after Eris, right? We weren't sent to
Not
collect Eris.
directly. Yeah, not
We
directly.
were sent by Eris,
Yes, which leads to
right?
believe how long were the Hive chilling up there?
A long time, right?
'Cause, yeah,
So the Hive, right, have been in the Sol system for centuries. Centuries.
which owes us a how long has it been since the collapse?
Couple centuries. Because if you listen to Ikora, Cade, and Zavala talk to each other, they've been alive for a couple hundred years, right? And none of them were alive during the collapse.
Which means they came along after the collapse.
After the collapse, yeah. Because
I think the
Zavala
only one who
Zavala's
was
ghost. Yeah, Zavala's
Targ.
ghost. Yeah, Tarj found Zavala during the Dark Age. Right, which is after the collapse.
Which is during which was the peak days of the Iron Lords.
Oh fuck yeah, and the warlords. Shax was a warlord, which is so funny to me, by the way.
I
Um,
find it hilarious too.
Also, Fellwinter, right? Fellwinter, Lord Fellwinter was also a warlord, but
I have his helmet, I have his shotgun, and I have
but
his gloves.
yeah, but was later on
And died
became
as
an
an
I
Iron Lord.
later on became an Iron Lord. Yes, but died during the collapse of the Iron Lords.
I think that was during that was
The
then
Siva,
yeah,
it's the Siva, corruption.
aka Outbreak Perfected.
Yeah, aka Outbreak Perfected, which is so funny to me because obviously there's like two or three guardians in total that don't like that gun and push back against the idea of the young wolf using it, and that is Lord Saladin, Lord Shax, and who else? Saint 14.
Which is fair. They were all probably alive before and like way before and during that situation happening.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
actually I actually have yet to play that mission too.
You've you've never
I have
played you've
I
never
have
played
Outbreak
the Rise of
Perfected.
Iron?
I did not play it. No, I missed it. But
Brother,
no, but no, I'm talking about the
brother,
exotic.
what a
I'm talking about the
fire
exotic.
DLC!
I
Oh,
know, but I'm talking about the exotic mission on D2, the 0
oh,
hour.
really?
Yes, but it's funny because I have Outbreak Perfected before that mission was added.
Okay,
I'm like,
okay.
this is hilarious. Like, I already have the gun, but I still want to try and play the mission. You know, like the main reason I wanted to play Presage was because I wanted Dead Man's Tale. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, Cowboy Gun Go Burr.
Yeah,
I'm a sucker for that.
Cowboy Gun Go Burr. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wholeheartedly. Right, and my favorite thing about that is the fact that that gun belonged to another hunter guardian, right? That worked for Callus, by the way.
I think it was to say that he was mostly it was like a
He
supposedly
was a
a rogue
mercenary.
hunter,
He was a rogue light. He was a rogue guard. He was a rogue
light bearer.
light bearer, right? And he didn't really care. Anybody who paid him, that's who he worked for.
Hey, get that bag while you can, right?
Hey man, hunters, bro. What do you expect? You're offering me
And
loot?
I mean,
Okay, say less.
I
Um,
mean, like that Zavala meme says, they genocide entire races for loot. What do you
yeah,
think we'll do to you?
but yeah. What do you think we'll do to you? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wholeheartedly, bro. Like, what do you think we'll do to you? Um, but yeah, no, that shit's too funny. Right, I love that shit. Dead Man's Tale is such a fire scout rifle, right? Like all the Tex Mechanica stuff is really nice. I love all the Tex Mechanica stuff. Um,
Last Right, if you ask me, Last Right could have been done better. It feels a little compared to
yeah,
like Time Worn Wayfarer, The Prophet. and Dead Man's Tale, it feels a bit
Yeah.
lackluster.
Oh well, of course they do. They're not supposed to be as great as Dead Man's Tale, right? Dead Man's
No,
Tale is
I mean,
the pinnacle
I
of
mean,
all of
Last
those.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Last Right compared to those three in general doesn't feel as good.
Time
Like
Worn,
Time War Wayfarer, Time War is usable, very usable. You've seen me use it.
yeah, Time Worn Wayfarer is actually the Vex is the Vex's uh
Copy.
copy of the Last Right and the Prophet, right? Um,
They did a damn good job with it. I'll give them that.
they did a pretty good job, yes. That's the reason why it's not a Tex Mechanica weapon, right? But it is still a variation of Dead Man's Tale. Now, the Prophet, Last Right, and there's another one. I think I don't remember. There's just those two: the Prophet
I think it's
and
the.
Last Right.
I think it's the one that came out now with the newest update.
Yeah, yeah. But those two weapons were used in order to create Dead Man's Tale.
Hmm.
By the way,
Which is
by
interesting.
the Ishtar Collective, and there was the other one, because obviously
Dead Orbit.
no, Dead Orbit wasn't around when Ishtar Collective was a thing. Um,
Oh, it was something else then.
yeah, it was something else. It was one of the other factions, one of the original factions.
The Black
Cause
Armory, maybe.
no, Black Army came out with the Guardians. I mean, their presence was noted at the Spire of the Watcher, right? Um, but I forget, but they used to work together, right? And then they created Dead Man's Tale together.
We need more text mechanical weapons.
Wholeheart, yes, for sure, most definitely, right? Like,
What?
but if you think
Wasn't
about
it
it
always?
though, if you think about it, Mars was the new Old West, by the way.
I believe it. I mean, when you look at it, when like during the intro mission to the Witch Queen,
Mm-hmm.
it's literally like, okay, it literally resembles Dust Bowl America.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sparse farmland and then desert all around because a lot of
It's
dust, a
Mars.
lot of farming. Well, in the Dust Bowl, so much farming and not enough, like them not rotating crops properly,
Mm-hmm.
suck all the nutrients out of the soil, creating literal dust fields. Hence the Dust Bowl.
Oh, I have the actual quote that the ghost says to you when at the beginning of D1.
Oh god.
Yeah. So chapter 1, eyes up. You don't know how long I've been looking for you. I'm a ghost. Actually, now I'm your ghost. And you? Well, you've been dead a long time. So you're going to see a lot of things you won't understand.
Is it ever stated why Guardians, when they're first res, lose their memory?
So the reason why they don't have any memory is because they've been dead for a long time. Most of them have been dead for centuries at this point, right?
Okay, that makes sense.
And the one thing that kind of kills me a little bit is the fact that each and every single ghost says to their guardians that they're special, right? So this is where I kind of get where Dredge and Yor was coming from, right? But at the same time, I don't because that fucker was corrupted altogether because of his gun. But we're all not that special. Like if we're all special, we're all not special.
Yeah, if everyone's special, nobody's special.
Right. And no one's special. But that's okay. I'm not worried about it. It's okay.
Like, yeah, we may all have the same abilities at our disposal, but what makes us special is how we use them.
Yo. Oh, dude, you know who I miss?
Hmm.
That I'm really upset that they killed? That they killed off? The speaker.
Oh yeah, dude, he was cool.
He was
That
cool as
was such
fuck,
a
dude.
cool character. I'm still angry that I missed all of the Red War.
Yeah. Such
I
a
wish I could go
such a
because I remember
fire. I love that
a
shit, dude.
buddy, of mi- a buddy of mine back in school actually was had started playing D2 before they started releasing all the stuff and started sunsetting content, which to be honest they never should have done.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was a raid for the Black Armory, I think. I forget what it was called because I was looked it up last night. It's where you get the bullet smith's iron armor for Titan.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they didn't sunset that because that armor, specifically the mark, looked awesome. I'm pretty sure the weapons were good too, but you know me, fashion over function.
Rogue light bears. The ghost
Oh,
hunter. The
oh
ghost
boy.
hunter. Yeah,
Forget
dude.
forget next episode. I guess we're getting into those now.
Yeah. I mean, fuck it. We're just gonna be here talking. This is Tower Talk, man.
I mean, this is kind of what we have to. This is kind of what we need to get into anyway.
Yeah, and I
Rogue light
mean,
bearers are kind of a good branch off from Ghost of the Deep.
yeah, and it's. I mean, we could talk about Ghosts of the Deep, but I can't talk about Ghosts of the Deep for an hour and a half because there's not that much
Hour
to
and a
it.
half. Yeah, hour and a half, 2 hours. Yeah,
Yeah,
because it
there's
must be just repetition.
yeah, it's just we're just gonna be repeating the same exact thing. I mean, besides the fact that there's 12 fragments, right, in the Ghosts of the Deep dungeon, right, that you have to find in order to get the catalyst, right, for the navigator, right, the Strand exotic trace rifle, like cool as fuck, love that thing, right. It's gonna be a pain in the ass to do, but I'm not worried about it because I got Explorer mode. Go fuck yourselves, right? Um, but
Down with the elitists.
down with the elitists, yes sir. But I mean, there's not that much to Ghosts of the Deep, right? Like, I mean, I have my opinion of Ghosts of the Deep. It's a very good dungeon, right?
I haven't tried it yet, so I can't formulate any real opinions yet till I play it.
The mechanics are nice. Sometimes the mechanics are a little buggy, but I mean, they
It's
still
fun.
work. It's done. It's Bungie. Okay, what are you gonna do, right?
The
Um,
introduction of glaives was a good idea, though. I will admit that.
I think it was a terrible idea.
I mean, yeah, okay, I'll admit, yes, it's terrible. The
Terrible
idea
idea.
was awesome. The
Yeah,
idea
yeah,
was an awesome concept.
yeah. But
I
why?
do feel like
But
they needed
but
balance to them.
what I think is ridiculous. Why the fuck do I have to pick up ammo for a sword and a glaive?
I think it's just their way of balancing. Why not just put the sword on a cooldown? Like it has a like it's kind of like the swords you could pick up for Dares of Eternity Crow to fight.
Yeah,
Once you
yeah.
use it, it takes time to recharge, and you can't use it until it recharges.
Right, right, right. Now, here's my issue with the glaives. Right. A glaive, right, is a polearm with a blade on the end. Okay.
Yeah.
Why am I able to shoot shit from it?
I mean, some of them you can see have an actual barrel.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
I think it's more.
Ridiculous.
I think the design concept they're going for is that the blade kind of acts as like a focus for the energy that's coming out of it.
Ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. I'll admit that.
I don't get me wrong. I will use a glaive every now and then if a bounty calls for it. Okay, but past that, you will never see me openly use a glaive. If I don't
I
have a
will
bounty
admit
for it, I will not use it.
on the Vault of Glass encounter with the giant Hydra.
Oh God, the
I
oracles.
will. Yeah, if I'm on, if I'm put on ad clear for mid,
Mm.
which as I said, which you've heard me say, I don't go on ad clear because I'm lazy. It's because I don't remember the mechanics, and
Mm-hmm.
it's better if I stick to something that I know how to do.
Yep.
Like I'll run if I need to, but if I'm on ad clear, I'll usually use Vex Caliber on Void Titan.
Which makes sense because you're fighting against the Vex, and in Volta
Oh,
Glass,
no,
we're fighting against the
I mean,
Vex.
not only that, but because Vexcalibur, with every hit, every enemy you defeat with it, you get a portion of Overshield.
Yes. Yeah, it's a
That
void,
pair,
right? It's a void
yeah,
weapon, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
and that paired with Void is absolutely insane.
Yes. I agree. Yes. But
It's still a ridiculous concept. Like,
it's a
is it a
ridiculous
spear or is it a
concept.
gun?
It's a
Is it a spear or is it a
ridiculous
gun?
concept. Okay? Ridiculous concept.
Now,
But
if they made it just a regular melee weapon, like how we mentioned, if it's a rechargeable,
yeah.
I think at some point we should have gotten an Iron Lord axe as a glaive.
No. No. You had to earn the Iron Lord's axe, which was
Fair.
Saladin's axe, which the young wolf did not earn the Iron Lord's axe at all.
Is it ever stated why we weren't able to earn it?
Well, because we earned our own sword. The young wolf is the last Iron
Last of
Lord,
the Iron,
the last of the Iron Lords, right?
which then
Young wolf was
and
the last one to
technically
be inducted into the Iron Lords.
and
Okay.
technically Crow is actually now one of the last Iron Lords as well.
Nope, he's not an Iron Lord.
Oh,
He is not an Iron Lord. Nope, not at
he
all.
earned Saladin X.
Hmm.
There's a lot of lore gaps that I'm missing there between Saladin and Crow, probably because I missed the seasons they were part of.
So Saladin, right? Um, didn't treat Crow any differently when he became a guardian. Okay, he actually Saladin actually was just like, fuck it, I don't care who the fuck you were in the past, right? What you choose now will determine on who you become, right? And so
Fair.
Saladin took Crow under his wing and was like, come on, we're gonna do our thing, right? And Saladin was the one who told Crow to essentially keep his face covered until they brought to light who he was to Zavala. Now, Zavala felt betrayed when he found out that Crow was Uldren Sov. Now, Crow doesn't exactly remember being Uldren Sov. Like, the things he did in Forsaken, he doesn't really remember those because he was possessed by Riven, essentially. Fun, interesting fact. Uldren Sov also created the Scorn as well, by the way.
Yeah, that's revealed. That was revealed in the episode Revenant.
Yes, yes. He created the Scorn with Fikrul. Fikrul was the first. Right, and Fikrul kept creating more and more Scorn because he didn't want to be alone. And which seems to be a universal trait throughout all of Destiny, right? Is that no one likes to be alone except for the rogue lightbearers.
That's another thing. A lot of rogue light bearers, if you notice, they don't trust their ghosts or they
Oh
outright
no.
hate them.
Yeah, no.
I think there's been a couple cases of a rogue light bearer actually destroying their ghost intentionally.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Drifter isn't one of those because
I mean, he's still a rogue lightbearer, but
yeah. But we see in that one cutscene where he's talking about the ghosts and all that, he outright insults his own ghost, like, and know how, like, and make sure you remember where we stand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. So, rogue lightbearers, the ghost hunter, right?
I don't remember his name, but I remember hearing something about him. He walked around with hundreds, if not thousands, of ghosts on a chain.
He dragged a chain of dead ghosts behind him wherever he went. Now, his name was Cyrell.
That's what it was. It was something like that.
The speaker's warnings were clear. Always mind the light. If you feel it fraying, you've strayed too far. There are places even the traveler's light cannot reach. Now, here I am, lost in the shadowy pastiche known as the Reef, and not a single tether of light touches me. But that is what my guardian wanted. His name is Cyrell, and Cyrell called me Strain. I found him on the far edges of Mercury in a valley that the Vex transformation had never reached. He seemed resilient, unwavering, old, and wise. I had searched for so long for my better half that I didn't hesitate. If I had considered but one moment more, I might have sensed how tired and burdened and tangled his soul truly was. I would have left him in peace, and I would not be a murderer of my kin. Cyril told me we came to the reef in search of Awoken. He had heard stories of how this far-flung offshoot of humanity had returned to Sol with unparalleled knowledge. He believed they had the answer to a question he refused to share. I know now, however, that he really came here to spare me. He confessed he could not bear another battle nor fight in the name of something no one could possibly understand. Though he could not remember his past, he knew deep down that he had already fought his last war. He couldn't kill me. I was his friend. He doesn't kill friends. He wouldn't kill himself either. That was cowardly, weak. And if Ghost's sole purpose was to raise the dead, to kill in the name of unexplainable forces, he could no longer let that happen. He would end the cycle. He would spare his brothers and sisters in arms. He would let the dead rest. Years later, I saw Cyrell again, clad in wretched-looking armor, dragging a chain of dead ghosts in the name of peace, still searching for an Awoken who could answer the one question that has haunted him since his rebirth. If you are a ghost who has not yet found your chosen, let this be a warning. Cyrell, the ghost hunter, will end your search for you. If you are awoken and perchance have the answer he seeks, please do not keep your secrets from him. Your life depends on it.
Which is, in that alone says all kinds of this, because
Oh, FYI, Cyrell's not dead. He's still around.
oh, I believe it. I mean, it's literally stated that his ghost is still alive. So long as he isn't killed, nothing's gonna put him down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the fact that he took his ghost to the reef shows that he's like, you didn't choose to do this. This was your job.
Mm-hmm.
That leads me to a question. And it's a question I've always had. Does the Exo Stranger, whatever her actual name is, it's
Elsie.
something Bray.
Elsie Bray.
Elsie Bray. Does she technically count as a rogue light bearer?
No.
See, that's the answer I've been looking for. Thank you.
She does not.
I can never figure out if she counted or not.
She does not count as a rogue light bearer. She actually is from a different timeline. She's from a timeline where the Traveler showed up and then the collapse happened, but the Guardians never happened.
She's from the bad timeline.
She's from a timeline where the ghosts were never a thing. Well, she was, but the darkness showed up and consumed everything and turned all the Guardians and corrupted them. And that
raises another interesting question too. Why would the darkness that created stasis help us? We're the enemy. Why would it grant us the ability to wield it?
So it didn't grant us the ability to wield it. We mastered it ourselves. So the young wolf, right? There are very few guardians who've mastered the darkness, right? The darkness abilities and whatnot. Get down. Get down. Hey, I'm talking to you. Don't backtalk me. Get down. Get down.
Cat wanted to sit in on the podcast.
No, she was trying to jump up onto my shelf with all my Legos.
Oh, yeah. Don't let her do that. But, yeah.
Anyways, where was I? Oh, darkness. So, there are very few guardians that actually, mastered the darkness powers, right? Young Wolf being the first to do it. And, especially for stasis, right? Which is so funny to me, right? So, the Young Wolf, who we play as in Destiny, canonically, right, never sleeps. Not ever.
We're always on go mode.
No. Yes, kind of, but the young wolf meditates, right? And very rarely ever speaks too, right? Which is so funny to me. Um, but when the young wolf does speak, it is always filled with wisdom and caution every single time, right? Except for one moment, and that's when Cade died, right? And Zavala didn't want to do anything about it. Like, there's no sense of vengeance whatsoever, right? Because he's already been down that path and there was nothing fruitful at the end of it for him. It was very unfulfilling, right? Because, his wife and his son died,
We
right?
see that path of vengeance,
We
and
see that path of vengeance in the final shape. Yes. And but due to the fact that the young wolf is so at peace with themselves, right, that mastering both sides of the same coin, the light and the dark, right, it allowed them to coexist in that gray area where they meet, right, and it allowed the young wolf to be like, yeah, you might be the darkness, but you don't control me. I control you, which is the reason why we are able to wield Strand, why we are able to wield Stasis.
I think from in my interpretation is that Strand and Stasis both represent two different ways of mastering oneself.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least they both represent the way of doing it. Stasis is remaining firm in the face of your adversity.
And
As such, say an iceberg.
yeah, and
And Strand is going with it.
yeah, Strand is going with the flow. Yeah,
Hence
yeah,
the
yeah.
whole river terminology.
Yep.
And
Yep.
prismatic, I think, according to the lore, the young wolf, our guardian, will be the only one to ever be able to properly use prismatic.
Yes, but the young wolf is not the only one who is able to use multiple elements together.
Yeah,
Like
as we see,
Osiris, Osiris has been known to cast Dawnblade and cast a Nova Warp at the same time.
and according to lore, Ikora Ray has used different elements for different supers.
Yes.
That shouldn't work, but works.
Yes.
He made a solar version of Chaos Reach,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah.
which in its own right is, woman, are you okay?
Yeah. 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 There's a passage. There's a section in one of the grimoires, right? That it takes place during the Red War when the Cabal hit the tower, right? And it's a warlock, a Void Walker, right? Um, that was just resurrected, that was just brought back by their ghost, right after dying a couple times, and they were thinking to themselves that this might be the last time that I wake up, right? And then from the corner of their eye, they saw a Cabal ship um, get hit, right? And then it just started like coming down, and on its wing, they saw her, and then all of a sudden disappeared and then reappeared in the middle of a Cabal Legion and casted a Nova Bomb so vast, right, that they were like, I thought I was a true Void Walker myself until the day I beheld Ikor Ray.
And they just also said that according to Shax himself, Ikora has the highest score in any Crucible member.
She's the undisputed champion of the Crucible. Yes.
Which
Yeah.
I wish they would touch more on that. Like,
Dude, Ikora Ray
what
is
has
fucking terrifying.
what kind of shit was Ikora Ray on to be the undisputed champion?
Yeah. Yeah. Which is so funny to
I
me
think we can.
because if you think about
think
it,
we can all agree
yeah.
that a fight between. Okay, so we know of four pretty good Titans out there.
Yes.
Obviously, Shax, Saladin, Saint 14, and Zavala.
Uh,
I noticed they're the most legendary figures that we know of.
Okay, sure, yes.
If you notice, Savala and
Savala's a
Sane
bitch.
14 they use the same subclass. They use Void.
Savala.
They or in the times we've seen him use it, he's only used Void. Like
Or
like during
no,
the
he's used Arc.
well, I said I've seen him. There was a clip for him using Ward of Dawn.
Yeah,
I think it was during the Red War.
no, he used a bubble. He used a shield essentially, right?
Do we
Which
know what
was
Shax used?
Shax uses solar.
Same as Saladin.
Well, no, actually, take that back. Shax is more along the lines of an Arc Titan, right? He's very much of, yeah, I'll drop myself from a jump ship and throw
I'll
myself
be the missile.
at somebody. Yeah, I'll be the missile. He was the missile. He was the Titan that created
Thundercrash,
Thunder Crash
which is fair.
because
I see that happening.
a group of hunters was like, "Here, take this," and threw him at a group of Elixni. Quite literally. Yeah. Yeah.
I
They
believe
threw
it.
him.
Which
Saladin
brings
is solar. And
obviously
Saint
that was
14
like the
is void. Um
which brings me to my main question: if we
mm,
were to throw those three
mm.
into a rumble, who's coming out on top?
Oh, Saint 14 all day.
So glad we're on the same wavelength for that. I
Well,
think it.
it's gonna be a
I
toss up
honestly,
between Shax and Saint 14, honestly.
yeah,
Because
because
one
we all know that
Shax lives
we
for
all,
this. Okay.
yeah, we all know Shax is immediately taking out Saladin.
He beat
There's
the
there's
absolute
beef there.
shit. He beat the absolute shit out of Fellwinter for 40 years.
Yeah, there is beef between Saladin and Shax.
Yes. Yes, there is.
Like even if you don't know
Well,
the lore, you can sense it.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Every time that they
So
talk to each
Saladin,
other.
and the way Saladin talks about the Crucible,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and you
Um,
can tell 14 has respect for Shax.
oh yeah, all day. Saint 14 has respect for everybody, but he respects the young wolf
He's
more.
grandpa. He's grandpa.
Yeah, he respects the young wolf more, ironically.
I believe it actually.
The reason why he respects the young wolf more is because the young wolf did what Osiris couldn't do. Right? Because Saint 14 was trapped in the Infinite Forest. Right? And then Osiris went in trying to find Shax. Not Shax, Saint 14. Osiris went in trying to find Saint 14 and got lost in the Infinite Forest as well. We went in, found Osiris, and then he was like, yeah, Saint 14's in there. And we're like, say less. We mapped out the entirety of the Infinite Forest ourselves. With no fire
like
team.
record time, yeah, and like record time probably.
In record time. Yeah.
Amidst all the Vex, the Cabal, anything else that might have been in there.
Yep.
Or gotten trapped in there. We were all like,
well,
fight work.
Everything that was in there except for the Vex were constructs. Well, except for the Cabal. The Cabal weren't constructs of the Vex.
Trapped in there.
The Cabal went in thinking like, yeah, we can control this with our scions, right? That's a fucking lie.
Hence the inverted spire or the other.
Yes.
The other one on Nessus.
Yeah.
Is it technically Venus?
Hmm?
Isn't Nessus technically Venus?
No. Nessus is a whole. Venus was destroyed.
Damn it. Man, I loved Venus and
Well, we don't know exactly what happened to Venus. Venus disappeared. I remember watching that live event too, by the way.
I bet it was ridiculous.
Cause I remember when the Red War came. I remember playing the base game of Destiny 2, right? And I remember the Red War and all of that and doing all that shit, and then finally getting to the point where they started like raising the light level, right, and whatnot, and changing it from being like level 40 to like you have a light level and you keep it going up to this certain point, right, like 720. Yeah, the power level 720, that used to be the cap.
And it steadily goes, and it goes up like what? Now it goes up like 100
Some shit
every
like that.
season.
Some shit like that. I don't remember,
Very inconsistent.
but I remember when the pyramids finally came in, right? The pyramid ships finally came in, and planets legitimately started disappearing. And then the Witch Queen came out, and Mars came back.
For a split second, and it's like, oh yeah, here's Savathun's throne world, dipshit.
Yeah, you're on Mars, but you're in Savathun's throne world, which
Which,
is
if you ask me,
massive.
I I think throne worlds. I think the term throne world is more subjective. Instead of an actual planet,
Mm-hmm.
it's a small system made up of other planets they've claimed.
Yes, pretty much.
With the throne world being the first planet that was there,
Yeah,
where they originated.
yeah, something like that. But it's just crazy. I remember watching that live event and watching like actual planets disappear. I'm like, what the fuck? Because I remember Anna Bray trying to use Rasputin to fend off the witness's fleet, right? And then planets started disappearing off of the hologram, right? And Anna Bray was like, what the fuck is going on? Right? And then Rasputin was like, we have a problem.
In a very heavy Russian accent, we have problem.
We have problem. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which, by the way, fun interesting fact, obviously, most people know this, some don't, but Saint 14 is Russian.
I mean, it's
Well,
kind of hard to.
he was Russian.
I don't think he's distinctly Russian. I think he might be Belarusian.
Maybe. Either
There's a few
way.
dialects here and there, but he's in that spectrum, and I love that.
Yeah, which is so funny to me. And then when you find out that Saint 14 and Osiris are a thing, I was like,
I think before it was real, I think everybody do that because the way they talk about each other is
dude,
just oh they fucking
yeah,
they fucking.
it took me a while, especially when the Curse of Osiris came out, right? When they brought it to D2, right? Because the Curse of Osiris is D2, but it was also in D1. But when they brought the Curse of Osiris into D2, right? And you heard Osiris talk about this person, right? We didn't know his name at the time, right? And he would talk about him, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm trying to find somebody who's trapped in the Infinite Forest." And we're like, "Oh, okay, cool. We'll go find him for you." And then we finally find him, right? Bring him back,
Oh,
which is where we get the trials of Osiris, right? Um,
right.
and then you finally get to see them interact with each other, and you're like,
Oh,
oh, makes
like
so much sense. It makes so
oh.
much sense as to why Osiris like cast
I
away.
guarantee.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, the moment that fact was revealed, AO3 blew up.
Oh, wholeheartedly, definitely. But it made so much sense, right? We're like, oh, it makes so much sense as to why Osiris cast away everybody in his search for Saint 14. He pushed everyone away because he's like, I need no distractions right now. Okay, my
And he
entire
risked
focus needs to be on
himself.
this.
And he risked himself going into the Infinite Force alone, of all things, to find him.
Yeah, yeah,
Like that's like yeah, I'm like yeah, I would do something stupid for my buddies like that, but to push everything away and then sacrifice and then risk myself, that's not
yep.
really best friends. That's something somebody who has pledged their life to that person
Mm-hmm.
intimately
Yeah,
does.
yeah. And Saint 14 and Osiris have been together for a couple centuries.
I mean, they were both Vanguard at the same time, right?
Yeah, Shax was the Titan Van not Shax. Saint 14
Saint,
was Saint
Saint Vanguard.
was
He's the
um
legend.
yeah, Saint was the Titan Vanguard at one point, and so was Osiris was also the Warlock Vanguard at one point.
Which was
Um
with who was the Hunter Vanguard? Was it the one before? Was it the one that Cade made the bet with?
I think so. I think so. Which is so funny to me, right? As to Crow being the Hunter Vanguard now, right? It's so funny to me because um inadvertently, right? Crow made the bet with um Cade inadvertently when he killed Cade,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, that's
Because
the hunt. That was the Hunter Dare, right?
it's the Hunter Dare. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the unwinnable bet. And it's so funny to me because the Hunter Vanguard is the only Vanguard position that you can't leave without dying.
And it is a. It's literally a. You're in it. You're in it till you're dead.
Yes. Now the Titan Vanguard and the Warlock Vanguard is passed down from teacher to protege,
Yeah.
and it's so funny to me, bro.
Was it
It's
ever? Was it actually ever stated that Zavala was taught under Saint,
no,
or was it somebody else?
I think it was somebody else that he was taught under, but
And
so
it's so funny also
the
that if
reason
like
why.
when you're playing Iron Banner, not to
Mhm.
cut you off on that. When
Oh,
you're
you're
playing Iron,
good.
Saladin, like if you're like a Titan, I think Saladin says you'll have Savala's job one day, and I'm like, I don't need that kind of responsibility.
Yeah, literally all of us hunters being like, yeah, I'm not dying here today when I'm with other hunters.
No, all the hunters be like,
Yeah, fuck that.
someone make sure Crow doesn't leave the tower.
Yeah, make sure Crow doesn't leave the tower today because I don't feel like taking that position.
I feel like all the warlocks are like, bro, we're not gonna be able to hold a candle to this bitch, please.
Yeah. Cause it was so funny to me because when Cade died, right, all the hunters in the tower disappeared
Immediately dipped. Yes,
immediately. Cause none of
it's
us wanted the
literally
job.
it's mentioned in Tommy's matchbook.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Like
Cause none
it's
of them
literally,
want the job.
yeah, so like this is the most expensive thing we own. We're not going, and y'all need to hurry up and put someone in that chair. The
Yeah.
hunters are going mad out here.
Yeah, kind of. But
When there was a hunter is saying that like, look, y'all need to put somebody in that chair. We don't care who, but the
y-
rest of us are losing our fucking minds.
pretty much. But I mean, literally the day that Cade was brought back to the tower, all the hunters disappeared from the tower, right? Because
I think
none of us
depending on
wanted the job.
And I think depending on the class that you play, it's the exception is the young wolf.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And the way where you mentioned that the young wolf only time they didn't speak with wisdom and caution was when Kay died. I'm like, that was probably the only time the young wolf
It's
spoke in anger and grief,
it was because Zavala didn't want to do anything.
which I don't blame Savala. Yes, he has probably has more experience with that, but we don't know what the young wolf did before being rezzed. As
Exactly.
far as you know,
There is
his
no
whole
lore on the young wolf's life prior to being
which
resurrected.
which of course they probably did that for inclusivity for you to make your own story.
Right,
I
right.
personally believe on how you play it, like if you're a Titan specifically, the
Mm-hmm.
young wolf was a hero of the Dark Age.
Sure.
Because I mean, I know like Saladin will say this for any class, you fight like a hero of the Dark Age,
Yeah,
which is like
Saladin's referring to the Iron Wolves, the Iron Lords, by the way.
yes,
Which
yeah,
did you
she wrote
know in
that
the
one.
beginning there was only 3 of them?
I believe it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think Saladin wasn't one of the original ones though. Obviously,
He was. Yeah, he was one of the original 3. He wasn't the leader though.
I mean, I figured as much. It's probably why he's
The
so content when
yeah.
focusing on being a leader
Mm-hmm.
because he has big shit.
The original 3 Iron Wolves were 3 Titans actually.
That makes sense
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
just some of the best armor for Titans is Iron Lord armor.
Yeah. And what's super funny is originally before they had the Sentinel shield, right? They had a massive metal shield. Like bitch was massive.
Yeah, I think it's similar to like kind of like in the similar shape as the wolf kissed armor, the ornament armor,
Yes.
which is the Assassin's Creed Valhalla reference.
Mm-hmm.
I think I like to think that the shields were kind of like that.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
And whoever owned and whoever the Titan was that had Ursa Furiosa was probably an Iron Man.
Yeah. Yeah. Without a doubt, had to be. Had to be. But
Dude, I still is it technically confirmed that in terms of Titans, like during his time as Vanguard, Satan 14 was one of the strongest as well.
I
Because
mean,
as it
maybe.
stated, even the Vex are afraid of him.
Well, yeah, of course. Just like the Elixni are afraid of Shax.
The, the Elixir are afraid of Shax and Saint 14. I think they're more wary of Shax.
They're terrified of Saint 14.
I mean, Saint 14 is technically their boogeyman.
Technically, he's
He's
their
the,
John Wick. He's their John Wick.
no, he's not just their John Wick. He's the devil as far as
Yes.
they're concerned. He's
Yes.
purely death, and I love that.
Yes.
I do wish that we did get an ornament set similar to that, like in that cutscene.
Oh yeah, that
I
shit was
wish we got an
fire,
ornament set
dude.
similar to that armor, dude. Like
My
the
favorite
demon of
thing.
Reese.
Yeah.
They could have called it the Reese demon or something like that. Because we have the helmet ornament for Saint 14's helmet, and it's so fucking cool.
Come here. Come here. What are you doing? Leave
Ow.
mom alone. Come on. So yeah, no, Saint 14 is absolutely hilarious. I love Saint 14. But my favorite thing about Saint 14 is that he's always so happy go lucky all the time, right? Until that one thing during episode of Echoes, right? Where he got angry.
No, dude. See, in the intro mission for Season of the Deep,
Mm-hmm.
where he is literally outright calling Zivu Arath out.
Yeah, calling her a bitch.
He was like, "Fuck me!"
Yeah,
we need to step up our game. Like, what do you mean? Like, Saint 14 is out of his prime, and this bro's over here challenging a God of War. We need to
yes.
step up our game.
We need to step up our game
And
wholeheartedly.
the conversation between like in the intercom interactions between him and Saladin, it shows that Saint 14, under all that happy-go-lucky, he worries.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Anyone that he has probably known throughout his time, especially if they're younger than him, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
he is he works with them like a father would worry for their children, and I love that about him.
Yep. Yep.
Because even sounded like before you throw her in, don't jump in before she learns how to swim.
Yes.
And I'll admit that's like one of the few times I've respected Saladin's words. He has a point. Don't jump in until you're certain that they don't know how to swim.
Yes.
And then Saint 14's clapback was just don't act so cold and don't be afraid to show that you care as well.
Yes. Yeah. And you definitely know there is some beef between Saladin and Saint 14. It's there.
Right.
The tension is there.
And I think it's more of Saladin like realizing that Saint 14 is on a technicality his elder.
Yeah.
He may not have been around during the Iron Lords, but that's his elder, and
Oh no, Saint 14 was around during the Iron Lords.
and he's realizing like
He was just he was just on Europa. Saint 14 was on
Yeah.
Europa. Because he's an exo.
yeah, he was doing some shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, speaking of Exos and speaking of Europa, dude, the lore with Banshee being Clovis Bray was such a trip.
I know, right? It's so
And the
crazy to
fact
me.
that and the
It's
fact that
so insane.
the lament is essentially all of his memories in
Mhm.
sword form.
Yeah, the lament is Banshee's memories in sword form.
And that is such a cool sword too, dude.
It is, right? It is. But
I actually
the
I
fact.
actually found a mod for Left 4 Dead
Really?
that turns the chainsaw into the lament.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. So,
Custom animation.
Banshee 44, right, is the 44th addition in the line
The
of
40,
Banshee, right?
and it's probably the technically oldest EXO that's
It
gone through that many renditions.
Yeah, that's the reason why you have to be careful around Banshee, right? Because
And
you
what you
don't
yeah,
know what he's going to do.
and the way you always hear him realizing that he's not all there because of
He's
it's.
not.
I think it said that the more renditions a EXO goes through, the
The
more
more that
memories,
they lose. Yeah. But and
which is a scary thought.
like Cade 6 for example, right? Cade 1 through 6, right? Cade
One through
6 was the greatest Cade to ever live,
yeah,
right? Cade 1 was a security guard on Europa.
yeah. I remember hearing it like, and that's for the like during the Ace of Spades mission when it was still around. He was like, "Kids 1 through 5, their stories don't need to be told."
Yeah, but you get to find the lore for Cades 1 through 5 on Europa, by the way.
You know what? That's technically based off of Banshee's own lore with the Lament.
Hmm. Oh
Banshee
yeah.
is the second. Banshee is the second EXO that the Vex feared.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But now
Because
he's
they were yeah, they were so focused on, they were so afraid of him. They were like, we have to get that sword so we can figure out how his brain works.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now my favorite thing about the fact that Banshee 44 is Clovis Bray is absolutely insane to me, right? I love it so much because it makes so much sense because every time that you go to Banshee 44 at the tower, he's holding Telesto, right? He's working on Telesto. The emote for the gunsmith is you working on a Telesto.
And Telesto was developed by
by
Bray Exoscience.
by Bray Exoscience. Yeah, it's Bray technology.
I think it's the same with a Polaris Lance
Mm-hmm.
because literally the legendary version of it is called the Bray. It's called the Bray Tech
Yeah, yeah,
prototype.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And I think it also works with another one. I think it's a Lorentz driver. I think, which is a fusion rifle. I can't remember,
Yeah.
but it's a one. It's like a prototype. I don't think it's made by Bray Exoscience, but it's made from parts that you find around the Exoscience building. And another thing is necrotic grip was found on Europa.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's never. I think it's meant to kind of hint that necrotic grip has probably got some hive touch to it.
Yes.
Hints that because I was reading through the lore on it the other day, and
Polar-
I think and it's
Polaris Lance, right?
yes, it's the solar one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so Polaris Lance, right? I've forgotten so much of my past life, of my family, but when I hold this rifle, everything feels right. I feel like I'm home, right? Anna Bray. Polaris
Exactly.
Lance is an exotic scout rifle featured in Warmind and serves as Anna Bray's signature weapon, having received it, albeit unfinished, from her sister Elsie Bray as a birthday present during the Golden Age. It is acquired by retrieving 4 diaries from Anastasia Bray's past and returning them to her. After the removal of Warmind, it can be acquired from the Monument to Lost Lights for 125,000 glimmer and an ascendant shard. But
And I've never liked using it, but the design of the weapon itself is such a good design.
it's so nice, right? It's so nice. Here, let's bring it over here really quick. It's
Yeah,
it's so nice. Like, look at that.
it's a
It's
really pretty weapon.
it's beautiful. It's glorious. I love it so much. It just it's crazy. It's crazy.
I think one of its ornaments is actually in its prototype state.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's the one that we just looked at.
Yeah,
Um, but the
which
lore itself, right? Most people wouldn't consider a broken weapon a birthday present, but the Brays aren't like most people. Sure, they tell me I'm smart, but they have a closeness, a relationship to the tools and machines they work with that goes beyond words. I never thought they would trust me enough to be part of that until today. Elsie knows I've been working in the lab trying to perfect the scout rifle designs in secret. I thought she'd be angry that a weapon like this was a Bray project, not something for her adopted little sister. But this morning, she surprised me. She handed me the weapon, a smile on her face. She told me she had checked it over, but only I could finish it. A real piece of Bray tech, and it's mine. I finally feel like I found my place. The Brays are more than just scientists. They're my family. This is when Elsie Bray was still trying to be a part of the Bray family, right? And then when she became a guardian, she was like, "Oh yeah, Clovis Bray, what a dick."
I think it's mentioned that Clovis Bray he started changing to what we know him as now as a dick because he was so focused on unlocking how to make the exos work.
Yeah, but in doing so, he invited the Vax to Europa.
Yeah, and I think
He opened the gate for them.
And that's another thing is the Vex, and everyone's like, "Oh, what do you mean the Vex are such an annoying?" I'm like, yeah, but that's not even the army that we're facing. The only ones that are technically soldiers that we face are the Wyverns.
They're the only warrior frames that we fight are the Wyverns.
Yeah,
Everything else is just a worker frame.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, we've been getting our shit clapped by angry construction workers and their foremen.
Pretty much.
Why I think Wyverns are technically the lowest on that spectrum. I think they're just simply meant to be like security.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still packing so much heat.
Speaking of Europa, Deepstone Crypt.
I played it once.
Deepstone Crypt.
That was where they were attempting to where the House Salvation I think was attempting to make Elixni Exo.
Yeah. Which is the one of the main antagonists of Vesper's Host. Which is the main antagonist of Vesper's Host. Deepstone Crypt. Legends. This is the tower where we were born. Not the tower, just a tower in a dream. The tower stands on a black plain. Behind the tower is a notch in the mountains where the sun sets. The teeth of the mountain cut the sun into fractal shapes, and the light that comes down at evening paints synapse shapes on the ground. Usually it's evening when we come. The ground is fertile. This is good land. We go to the tower in dreams, but that doesn't mean it's not real. Some of us go to the tower in peace. They walk through a field of golden millet, and a low, warm wind blows in from their back. I don't know why this is, because the rest of us meet an army. You can ask others about Deepstone, and they'll tell you about the army. They might confess one truth, which is this: we have to kill the army to get to the tower. Usually, this starts barehanded, and somewhere along the way, you take a weapon. And ask again, and if they're buzzed, they might also admit that most of us don't make it to the tower except once or twice. None of them will tell you that the army is made of everyone we meet, the people we work with, and the people we see in the street, and the people we tell about our dreams. We kill them all. I think because we were made to kill, and this is the part of us that thinks about nothing else. Often I kill people I don't know, but like most of us, I think I knew them once, in the time before one reset or another, when my mind was younger and less terribly scarred. So, that is how we go back to the Deepstone Crypt, where we were born.
Which, that alone is a terrifying thought.
That's from Banshee.
Yeah, that is absolutely terrifying.
Exos don't dream, he said. But what's dreams? And what's memory? Ah, just fix the gun, Banshee. Banshee 44.
What was that on? What weapon was that on? I thought that was on a certain weapon.
I have no idea.
Because I remember reading that somewhere. I can't remember where. And I do know another thing is a chivalric fire.
Maybe.
The sword.
Maybe.
It no, no, and it's not that one, but that sword. The lore for it is that each member, like Savala, Drifter, Shax, and I think a few others, came to those three specifically came to Banshee with ideas for the sword.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I love. They like because
I
I
do
mean,
think.
who else in
Hang
the
on.
tower knows weapons better?
Yeah, right. So before we continue, I think this is where we're gonna wrap up this episode. We're at an hour 35.
Yeah, we don't need to be burning too much time.
No, no, no. We could sit here and talk for hours about this stuff, but there's no reason to
All
make it
right,
any
so
longer than you.
I guess for next episode is maybe talk about finding something about the Black Armory in 801.
Deepstone Crypt, Exos, Black Armory, Bucket. Yeah,
Sounds like a good plan.
sounds like a great plan to me. Well,
All right.
until next time, this is Tower Talks. So, peace out, guys.
No, no one stop for Guardian Gossip.
Yeah, yeah, Guardian Gossip.